Zyra were both banned by them. Or sorry, by Mad. They're open this time. They completely ignore those two junglers. They just go Vi right off the bat. So it's just, I don't know, very back and forth as PSG kind of finds what they want to play this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, right? You know, whether or not everyone else is going to agree with them is, I think PSG has kind of settled on, like they said, we just want to fight. We're just going to go for, you know, scrappy, you know, champions that can skirmish really well, that can make plays, that can get picks, can look to be aggressive in those setups. MF, the consideration here for Betty, is going to get locked in, probably much to the dismay of many PSG fans, as it did not look very strong previously. But I will say, in watching a lot of PSG's games locally, they were really good at actually combining, you know, MF ults and Kennen ults and like all these kind of AoE combos alongside engaged champions like the Rel from Woody. He was so adept at actually setting up for these, always seemed to be able to find a good angle to really enable his team to find that perfect ultimate. So while I'm not really a fan of the MF, maybe Woody can find that perfect engage to really make it look good.
Definitely, I think a comfort pick because the compounding nerf did hit Misfortune, base AD, and the #1 item Bloodthirster both getting nerfed, so I think it's much weaker this patch.
Yeah, she lost around, I think it was 4% win rate or so in solo queue, which is very significant as far as those things go. You know, obviously this is a champion that really was kind of considered to be one of those really early game bullies, and when you completed BT, no one could really contest you on mid wave. It gave you a lot of prio to be able to play through mid. Your team kind of had first move towards the sides and towards those objectives. It is a little bit more difficult for her to maintain that priority now, as we're going to see Supa moving towards the Ezreal here. So back towards a bit more standard stuff here for MDK. And of course, we could see the Renekton go mid again, who knows?
Yeah. It's definitely a flex pick, and they will probably hold it until the very end of the draft. I'm expecting the support pick to be fired on 4, and I like the Akali ban. It would fit fairly well with what PSG is doing already. It didn't seem like even the Renekton mid slowed Maple down significantly. I do think that game 1 could have been completely different without that incredibly clutch Rel ultimate in the top side by Alvaro in that game 1. So understand why the Akali was banned, even though it was defeated last game.
Yeah, I mean, it lost, but it was still, I think, the best performing champion, you know, from PSG. So was doing really well. Aja obviously was getting a lot of work done on the Udyr as well. LeBlanc going to be the ban, interestingly enough. So they are very concerned about these really aggressive, you know, assassin type champions. Obviously, LeBlanc kind of plays more like poke unless you get monstrously ahead, and then you do start to just kind of one-shot people. But a lot of burst here. I love the solo lane plus jungle pairings here over on the MDK side. Diego needs that first kill, and it becomes an entirely different champion. With Renekton and Syndra, with Ezreal ult over the top, you have the ability to get these 100-0 burst kills, to get those resets for El Yo-Yo, where he can take over a team fight, take over a game. As we are going to see the hover of the Ahri, which obviously would make sense alongside that Vi. It's one of the most classic pairings here with the jungler, all about being able to get in on those low mobility backliners like the Syndra, lock them up with the Vial, follow up with the Charm, burst them 100-0, and we'll see if that's going to work out here for PSG.
I am not surprised by the Ahri pick, and I would expect just the hard engaged support to come in at the end for Woody. Leona or Rel, kind of just depends on what he feels most comfortable with, and it's Leona.
Yeah, it's going to be the Leona. I also think it's a nice, as a little bit potentially of a takeaway from Alvaro here, just because Leona ult is so strong against the bullet time, it's so easy to actually stop and interrupt the MF ult. So if the Leona kind of just sits on ult, it's very difficult for you to get that full channel bullet time. Of course, a Rel can get in and still interrupt you there, but it is a little bit more difficult. You're kind of more reliant on that.
Poppy's looking so nice if he wants to pull it out.
Yeah, Poppy can be really strong. Obviously, a little bit higher risk, higher reward champion, you know, if you do play it perfectly. But Rel, I just think, is queen of the supports. It's like, this is the strongest pick in the game as far as support is concerned for my book. So I do think it is really strong. You know, it's going to give them that strong engage, the strong setup here to be able to go into a fight, get that first initial kill, get the Viego the resets, and look over to try to take over that game.
And I think if we look at the team compositions across the board, MDK is absolutely about burst and reset the Viego. So much front-loaded damage, which will mean that they do have to play fairly clean in the early game, because if they do fall behind in their solo lanes, the Renekton Syndra is not good to sustain damage. It's so much upfront burst. if Woody's Leona gets a little bit ahead, can actually frontline, it would be much more effective for PSG. But overall, not a huge criticism on the MDK 5 champions, mainly because of the 5 champions that they're against. There's no super tank, there's no Sejuani Orin type frontline that would be able to stand up to that burst long term.
Honestly, I think they have pretty similar drafts, you know, as far as like what the champions want to do, as far as how they play out. Of course, Ezreal and MF, I would say, are like the most different, but, you know, Viego, Vi, kind of similar class of champions. Ahri, Syndra, kind of similar class of champions. I do think the MDK have a better scaling comp, because Syndra, obviously, and once you get all the stacks, does scale up quite well, and Ezreal can be very difficult to lock down in the late game, especially with Cleanse, as I do believe I saw Supa take. But we are heading on into the second game here. This is a best of 3, of course, so Mad just need one more win here to be able to punch their ticket to the Swiss stage at Worlds. PSG going to be looking to see if they can begin their roads to a comeback here with a win against MDK.
MDK 3-0 in the play-in so far in terms of games. They 2-0'd on day 1. They're up 1-0 in this series. And we do need to see if we're going to see a swap. I'd say neither of these team compositions look like they would need to swap, but you do need to keep track of what MDK does in the early game because they've been swapping a lot so far at Worlds.
Absolutely, and we're going to have to watch out for our featured matchup presented by Mercedes-Benz. Elyoya versus Junja was quite explosive in game number 1. Elyoya doesn't have a jungle item, by the way. He hasn't bought. So hopefully he recognizes that pretty quickly, or he's not going to be able to clear the jungle. So that could be actually pretty problematic, and he's not going back to base, and I think no one on his team is hitting tab.
Okay.
Unless this is like an interface mess up, and then, you know, my bad, but...
Yep. A lot of times you would wait to ward and then recall and swap your sweeper item, but we're now 1:15.
Too late. He doesn't know he doesn't have an item. He's not going to be able to clear the jungle.
That's not good. That's not good, Azale.
That's really tough. I mean, especially if he starts solo, he's going to realize it really quickly. As soon as he starts solo, he's going to be like, oh god, I actually can't kill red buff, or if he can kill red buff, he's going to have to base after.
Well, he won't even get level 2 off
because he won't get the bonus XP. Exactly. So he is starting it, and as far as I can tell, it's not a UI error. He just forgot to buy the item, so he is going to be struggling here.
Yeah, I'm watching the red buff battle. It's close.
The red buff is actually kind of...
No, it's going to win.
Red buff has hands.
Yeah.
Red buff has hands. Elyoya's got to get out of there, and that is a rough start, to put it mildly, here for Elyoya.
I've seen better. I've seen better jungle paths from Elyoya.
I have as well. Wait, he didn't buy... Okay.
Yeah,
that actually made me so nervous. That just gave me anxiety. For a second there, I thought he was walking out. So now we have to see what this is going to mean for us in the game, because Junja has some information on this. You know, they did actually spot that he had no jungle item, as long as they were paying attention.
Exactly, like if a tree falls in the forest, did it actually fall down?
They spotted him. So they should, if they hit tab, they would have seen he had no jungle item and known that he couldn't clear. So now I kind of want to see what the response is going to be from Junja, because if he just full clears from that bases, like nothing really...
I think that's what you do.
Nothing really happens, you know? So we'll see if it actually ends up being much of a big deal here. Of course, if you do get invaded, it's very problematic, as you know, Vi could go up towards the top quadrant and just kind of take that for free, but we don't necessarily know if PSG, you know, hit tab, if they did get full vision of it, and if they are going to react to it.
Yeah, they could go for an invade. Unfortunately, the Renekton Syndra have such strong prio in both solo lanes. I mean, even Mirwin might be able to disrupt the Vi around the blue buff if he decides to really deep check.
Yeah, he is going to be able to walk up there. The ward over the wall from Junja will be able to at least give him that intel, as Mirwin is going to be just heading back up towards top lane.
See it at all.
Doesn't actually spot on him. I'm not sure if you can see the spell effects in fog there, because there are some weird things with the Spectator client. I know you can still see like people hitting Baron and stuff if you just pan over to it, so it's possible that he got that information. Either way, they should have a good idea of where it is, and at the end of the day, Elyoya is behind, but it hasn't really been a big deal. Supa, though, in some trouble, is going to shift back to safety. Nice trade in, won't result in too much more, as Supa was low on mana. Is going to be forced back here, and PSG going to take a slight edge in the bot lane as a result.
I mean, they'll get the slight advantage on this trade, but they were getting pushed in. Mirwin was pushing in Aj's Gnar. Frescawi was pushing in Maple's Ahri. They had 3 lanes of prio that they were probably going to be able to play around with this Viego. So I agree with you. It's actually not a total disaster. Right now it's like 6 camps to 7. Once Elyoya clears this.
Yeah, I mean, if he double scuttles,
it's actually not bad at all.
No.
Even with the double scuttle, it's going to delay a little bit his ability to start the jungle again. So actually not as big of a deal as it could have been.
Yeah, I mean, if he got invaded and lost all his camps off of something like that, then it's an absolute disaster. But in this case, it didn't really end up mattering. Of course, he's behind tempo. He could have been in a better spot. Maybe he could have looked for a gank, whatever.
Yeah.
But that's not where we are, and it's not anything catastrophic for Elyoya.
But is he tilted? It's a bit of a legitimate question, because it's
I think he's probably
big,
okay. You know,
now,
he didn't
now
get
that he's through it.
Exactly.
Now that he's through
Yes. If you forget to buy a jungle item, you get invaded, you die, then yes, you're probably tilted.
Yeah.
But that's not the world we're living in, so he's okay, and he is heading down towards bot side, and is looking for a potential play here. Junja is here, and it's going to be the jump for Elyoya. Misses with the Spectral Maw. Junja going to go back, though, charging up on the Vault Breaker. Not going to elect to go in here, so Elyoya will be able to clear out the ward. Junja moving up towards his Raptors, and it is going to be just one scuttle apiece. So at the end of the day, they both do get that 7 camps. Whereas Cowie gets the information that Junja's over on Raptors and is just going to head back and continue trying to bully out Maple, who is getting relatively low. The Charm going to miss. Can he hit with the scatter? He hasn't actually let that rip just yet. Waiting for the cooldowns on the Q, which is back up now. Maple definitely starting to hurt in this 1v1. Already has used both his potions. Whereas Cowie sitting on both potions. He's just chilling. Nice little slow down there. There's a flash forward. Great cleanse for Benny. Was so fast, but it's not going to matter for Woody. He is not safe. First blood. Grab by Elyoya. Jungle item be damned.
And now he feels good. If they're actually able to win the bot 3v2 this early on the game, Vi has made no meaningful impact, and he's able to get that first blood. That completely slingshots you back in the game. I'd say a misplay there by PSG as well, though. Betty takes the cleanse, and then Woody dies with his flash up.
Yeah.
Kind of lets himself get chain CC'd by the Rel. So I think that was an avoidable death there for PSG, and they're going to be feeling the pressure now that they're down in game 2.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Woody maybe just misreading the damage, saying, okay, you know, you already used the Spectral Maw there, the cleanse is out, okay, I'm fine, I can just kind of tank this up and then walk out, but does get burst down and is problematic for him. Junja will try to respond back on the top side with these grubs. Doesn't look like there's going to be much of a contest just yet. Maybe on those later grubs there will be, as Alvaro's over here. Woody did have first move, but Maple has now hit 6. Junja is not 6 himself, but is now pretty close, so if he could get to 6, they can start to look for a play. Will be the 3 grubs basically for that first blood, but of course MDK going to be really happy to take that trade.
Yeah, Junja's Vi will hit level 6 fairly quick, especially with the extra experience he gets from those grubs, which will definitely create playmaking opportunities for him and Ari, but the map has really just not been in good states overall for PSG. Getting pushed in all their lanes, not really getting strong aggressive trades, and Elyoya's in a decent position here, but it would be a little bold to try and close the gap onto the Gnar unless he hops forward.
Yeah, be a pretty difficult play to pull off, and Elyoya has no flash, you know, did use it on that previous play, isn't 6, so no access to the Heartbreaker. So not going to be looking for it, as Mirwin just kind of trading back and forth here. It's so much about move speed in this matchup, so both players are rushing towards those tier 2 boots, and Mirwin just kind of trying to threaten that, hey, jungler could be here, and it is going to mean that he misses the cannon, and he's losing not any experience, but he is losing some of that gold, which obviously is going to hurt him, as you'd love for Aja, if you're a PSG fan, to be able to kind of create an advantage, be able to be a threat in the side lane, and Gnar wants to be kind of in that bully position in the 1v1.
Elyoya really playing defense here, maybe hoping to turn something around, because they didn't even have River Prio there. Maple was out of vision, so it could have been a 4v3, but he's just waiting there.
And they are both 6 now, both junglers, you know, so pretty even as far as the experience is concerned. Elyoya reveals himself. Alvaro going to flash in. Not going to be able to actually catch Betty. Very quick on the reaction there was Betty. Earlier with the cleanse, this time with the flash. Has the reaction time to be able to get out, but of course, does mean he is going to be without that summoner for quite some time, so it could be dangerous. And Junja knows it. He's not sure. You know, is Elyoya still around? Is he still in a brush? So he feels he has to actually protect Betty, allow him to push in this wave.
I really like that, going flash for flash as a support, especially when you're a Hex Flash user. Completely worth it to get that out of Betty early on, especially with all the other stuff they have to close on him in teamfights.
Exactly, and I think even more so, with Grubs coming up here in 2 minutes, the first 3 went to PSG, they may want to actually try to fight for it, and then all of a sudden, you're an MF walking into a team fight there with no flash, and flash is available on Mirwin Renekton, it's going to be available on Elyoya, so that could be really difficult for PSG to actually go for it if they wanted to try to commit to the 6 Grubs.
And if game 1 was any indication, Grubs is the place to be.
It is the place to be.
Yeah.
Or not, depending on which team you are.
I thinking back, it's a little bit surprising this is the first Grubs that wasn't a massive team fight. Game 1 showed huge swings in both the first and the second Grub fight, with MDK winning the first and PSG winning the second. A much more muted early game here. Most likely because Elyoya was a little bit stunted at the very start of the game. Didn't allow them to play around their 3 lanes as prio as much as they've wanted, but they've still been able to recover, and he's actually ahead of the Vi in gold at this point in the game.
Yeah, nice little sidestep there on the true shot barrage by Betty, and he's going to let it rip on the ult. He has to cancel that, and Super looking for the outplay, going to flash forward here, and he hits the Q, and he's got the kill. The flash advantage makes the difference. Super just iced him in the bot lane.
Super and Alvaro have played so well here at the World Championship. The bot lane of MDK has been the highlight for me. Huge plays earlier to get the flash out of Betty, and then Supa capitalizes with that 1v1 kill.
Yeah, that was really well played there by Supa. The flash forward to guarantee the Mystic shot, gave him enough damage to pile in and finish off Betty. Tried to make it happen in the 1v1, couldn't quite do it. So more advantages going the way of MDK. They won that first game. They're now 1.3K, 1.2K, excuse me, so ahead here as that does shift to back end for us. Mid lane very, very even, but it has always been every time we kind of pan over. Frescowy is winning the trades. Frescowy is bullying out on Maple, and we haven't yet seen Maple and Jinja connect for any sort of play.
No.
And you really, when you do get access to those ultimates, want to start making plays with the Vi, with the Ahri, getting the lockdown, getting those flashes out, getting that punish. We'll see if this is going to be the place for them to do it, as Frescowy's down on bottom side, has TP, as is Maple. And this could be a bit of a repeat of that previous game where Jinja is kind of up here by himself. The team now is rotating over, but Elyoya, Supa, Alvaro already all here. And it could be difficult for them to enter, but they're going to look for a potential engage here. The TP now coming out from MDK. Frescowy's there, and as is Mirwin.
Maple's not.
They're going to need Maple, or they're going to have to just trade for plates on the bot side. So they need to make a decision and make it now. But I feel like PSG, having ceded control of the river, need to just let it go and try to play for something else. Mirwin even has TP though, so he can even TP towards bot if they need to try to deny plates. But it is going to be the Grubs going the way of MDK, not even one for PSG, so they're not going to get any sort of avoid might spawn.
Good job there by MDK to have 5 people up towards Grubs. Maple will get 1 or 2 plates, which will help close the gap against Syndra. I gotta say, PSG does not look very comfortable.
No.
I'd say ever since the poor fight in the top lane in game 1, it's been all downhill from there. They were kind of starved out in all of game 1. They completely pivot their draft here. They were gifted a jungle advantage off level 1, do absolutely nothing when it, are losing all 3 lanes, don't really seem to know when they want to fight. They do seem out of sorts.
Yeah, and I really do wonder if that's just playing around Betty's flash though, you know, to give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they're just nervous about that. Aja going to look forward. Nice scatter of the week, the flash forward. And the Meganar against the wall, layered in by Woody. Woody's taking the tower, and Frescowy's got nowhere to go. Woody survives. PSG find a kill on top side. Now it's Maple versus Mirwin. Not going to be able to force out the Spirit Rush there, as Mirwin just took a nice little trade, but Maple able to even the score.
Well, there we go. That's the type of play you do actually really want to see. They see that there is just a Syndra up there, able to get that kill on a Syndra, and likely several plates is what they needed.
And now the flash off of Frescowy. It is really hard to play against Vi and Ahri when you have no flash. You are so vulnerable. So could give PSG the edge moving towards this next potential objective. Betty trying to play for that mid prio, but of course Supa doing a great job there, and Alvaro comes in to be able to support. Betty still working towards that Bloodthirster here. Needs a little bit more gold, but we can see the first item completions are starting to come through. You know, Sundered Sky, they're already done for both junglers.
If they know that Mirwin's alone, they could 3-man dive this potentially.
Nice charm, good chunk of damage.
No wave though.
Mirwin will be able to survive, and he does back. Alvaro tries to interrupt with the ignite, but unfortunately it wasn't that last half second of the recall, so can't actually get it. Went to Worlds instead of a honeymoon. Worth.
That is the honeymoon.
There you go, exactly.
Not instead of.
All right, now Mirwin in trouble. It's a 1v4. They didn't want to go for it with 3, but they definitely do with 4. No chance of an outplay there for Mirwin. He's down.
He got the wave though, which is actually going to save that turret and a lot of plates. Meanwhile, Frescowy's creating that top,
for a dive
and Betty
here.
has flash.
They're wrapping around onto Betty. Are they going to go with it? They force the flash. The crash down doesn't connect. The ultimate is big. They're softening them up, and now Jinja is here. And the flash forward knocks up to the ulti to follow. Over the wall from Woody connects. PSG punished that dive. Huge.
They are back. It It was so hard to manufacture the plays needed, but they executed dive top lane, they executed dive bot lane, and they defended dive mid lane. So that's triple plays in succession that all go positively for PSG, turning what was a 1,000 gold deficit into a 1,000 gold lead.
Yeah, that's massive. They're going to be able to grab the dragon off the back of this here too. Aja pushing up in that bot lane, will be able to shove it in before going back to base. Some great plays there from PSG, but how about that Q flash from Junja? That was sick. Ends up connecting on both members. Perfectly placed here, as we can see it one more time.
Yeah, watching here, Betty times his flash very well. MDK is going to want that back because you want one, either the rel or the... Yeah, watch this flash.
That was really nice. He lands the Q over the wall and then able to follow up.
Kills Elyoya. Basically, Elyoya and Alvaro, you'd want one person to burn the flash and then the second person to land post-flash, but they burn them at the same time, which made Betty's flash very efficient. And then it's just a total disaster after that for MDK.
Yep, definitely feeling good about that, but the coach is definitely looking pretty reserved. Obviously a lot of stress over there.
A lot of stress.
The expectations were high. They were feeling very confident coming into this event. And a lot of the PCS experts were telling me this is the best they have ever been, that this is, they're poised to be able to make a big breakout event here.
Yeah.
But not having the dominance that I think potentially was expected from them. But if they're able to battle back here against MDK, if they're able to win this series, people won't really care the way that they did it.
Exactly. Game 1 would be quickly forgotten if they're able to win Game 2 and 3 and move on to the Swiss stage.
Oh, they're looking again. Betty in trouble. No flash now as he's locked up, stunned up, and he is burst down. Alvaro going to be traded back. Not bad. Does get the 1-for-1. And we can see 5 members of MDK here around the mid lane as Renekton is there as well. Everyone coming. They're going to lose the tower bot, and they are going to be losing some experience on the other side as well. But at the very least, they drop the Herald. They're going to get a charge on the tier 2. They get a kill, and they do get that tier 1.
Softened up the tier 2, but decide to have a fairly low use Herald there.
Oh, Mirwin kind of caught out here. We'll see if he can get away. It looks like he has enough support there from the rest of the team, so the chase will not continue from PSG, but they're just back to playing here around mid lane.
Game definitely got a lot more tense. There's a lot of confrontation here around this blue buff after the mid lane
play. Aja is feeling confident to flash forward there with the Hex Flash from Alvaro. Can't quite catch him as he was warded out, and he knows it. As they did back off, immediately sweeps out the ward.
Yeah, I mean, MDK's tempo is so bad right now. Everyone has been on the map for a long period of time. They group 5 mid, and then no one was actually able to reset except for Supa. So PSG is going to be grouping on this mid wave and looking to take a lot of damage off the mid turret. Not to mention Maple's poking Elyoya out, and they kind of see where everyone on MDK is.
Yeah, Woody scrapping here on the side, and Alvaro caught out again. He just had the Hex Flash. That's not getting you out of there. The crash down just might, but no, Betty is there with a bullet to the back. Finishes Alvaro.
And that's the tempo advantage. PSG seems like they're back into their comfort zone. They pulled that play off successfully. Maple's able to teleport and catch a huge wave in the top side. And this is more the type of PSG you were kind of expecting to see coming into the World Championship, because expectations are the damnedest thing, right? Like PSG and the LMS or the PCS hadn't made it to a quarterfinal of the World since 2015, the last time Maple did on Flash Wolves. And then because they had such a good MSI, because they were so clearly the standard for their region, and because they'd shown improvement from spring to summer, the expectations ended up shooting way high. And I can absolutely see that making them a little bit nervy in these games. So I think a really, really crucial next 13 minutes, because that could be the difference between getting swept against MDK or really kind of finding their form, figuring out the style they really want to play, and possibly winning the series.
Absolutely, and Aja having a really good game here. I think he's been moving around the map well, utilizing his pressure well, and he's now created a 1.6k gold lead for himself there on the Gnar. Going to be difficult for Mirwin to actually deal with in those side lanes at this point. And Maple just playing through side lanes, hasn't really been very active. He hasn't been able to actually pair up alongside Jinja, but they've been playing through sides well, and they're just kind of slowly eking out these advantages. It is now just above a 2,000 gold lead, just about 2.5k in the advantage there for PSG as MDK head up towards top. They are going to be spotted here by Jinja, and Woody is there as well. MDK has been grouping pretty heavily. They realize PSG are going to look for fights, they're going to look for scraps, and they want to be ready for it. But there is a cost if you end up over grouping. You're going to be losing experience, losing minions in those side lanes, and it can become problematic over time.
And this is probably the biggest lead the PSG has had in the series so far. They were pretty close and competitive in game 1, but it was usually mad with the slight lead. Then there'd be a counterattack and it would go to even. But PSG now, they need to kind of execute their game plan. We were very slow to first Drake in this game, with it being a Cloud Drake and with the high priority being put on the grubs, but that is going to be the next thing on the docket for PSG, is trying to get some of these waves under control and start stacking Drakes.
Absolutely. The turret going to be dying on the top side. No one going to be able to grab the local gold, so not going to be as big of a reward as normal. Woody there spotting out Alvaro, as both supports are aware of each other's presence in the area. Of course, when it is Cloud in the Ocean, Hextech as well as Infernal Soul, both available. Those ones are really big ticket items. Elyoya trying to fight for vision here with the rest of the team, but PSG have 3 down on the bot side. Ash just moving down from top, and Betty's still just trying to control middle, so they are a little bit split up.
MF has big-time items right now. Infinity has Bloodthirster completed, but this Drake is getting low fast.
Yeah, Junja, it might just be a flip, though. They're actually going to look to try to go for it. It's secured there by Elyoya as he was pushed back by the True Shot Barrage. That's a nice little poke there, but Aja goes in. He gets knocked back by the Scatter of the Week. The stun lands on Frescow. He flashes out to safety. Aja jumps back. It's Elyoya in trouble, but Junja can't finish him off. Mirwin was threatening on the side, and that was enough to get the team to safety.
Ooh, Frescowy out with such slim margins. It looked like it was going to be a massive Gnar play. Not only does he slow it, he also gets out alive. That could have been huge for PSG, but Matt, not only get the Drake, they don't suffer any deaths.
I think that was a beautiful scatter of the week. It had to be that actually pushed Aja back as he flashed forward with the Mega Gnar, was trying to slam him in the wall, didn't quite have the distance. We'll see if that's what happened.
Yeah, so they decide not to flip, but they have perfect Mega Gnar timing. Watch the scatter of the week. He gets him post-flash. Perfect timing. Yes, there is a stun, but it looked like the Leona ult was slightly off. Didn't chain the stun onto Frescowy, and that allowed him to flash to safety.
I mean, Aja fully whiffed on his ult after the scatter. He didn't even hit anyone. So, you know, that's a big-time play there. And it's very reminiscent of Alvaro's play in the last game, stopping Maple on that Shuriken flip with his ultimate, pulling him out. You know, it's these big-time plays in these little moments that can really change a game, because that should have been probably 2 free kills for PSG, and potentially even more. Maybe they take away some, you know, some objectives as Junja. Okay, he hit the Baron, but I was assuming that was an accident. Aja does have his Mega Gnar here. We'll see if he can actually clear out this wave. Doesn't look like it. It's going down too fast. MDK overload the side lane, take down the tower, and it's Maple on top side trying to respond as the rest of the team are controlling vision around that Baron, but honestly, at this point of the game, it would go down so slow, so there's not much threat. Elyoya stepping forward, feeling confident. Does have to back off after the initial little chunk of damage there on Junja.
Yeah, I guess he's completely fine since it is just a Leona vibe, but seemed a little dangerous after both his soul laners were just shown bot lane killing the turret. Wanted to hold a bit of vision in his jungle, unable to do so.
You can see a lot of key items coming through here, especially on PSG's side. The Storm Surge as well as the IE are both completed. The Seekers, though, going to be bought up by Frescowy. I think that is a much-needed item going in towards Zonia's here. You can immune the Vial straight up, and that is so important to be able to stay alive against that combination. Of course, doesn't always guarantee you will survive, but it can often guarantee the opponents have to spend so much to kill you if they want to do it, that the rest of the team can clean up. And I mean, Supa having a strong game thus far. He's on 2 items completed, and if you spend all of your resources trying to kill off Frescowy and he just immunes it with the Seekers, Supa could easily take over a fight.
He absolutely could. Still going to be an uphill battle here for MDK in this game too, as they don't have the strength to hold the vision here in the jungle, but they seem to be pretty confident holding these tier 2 turrets.
Yeah, and they do have 2 wards over by the Baron Pit that were missed by PSG, so honestly, you can sweep out the jungle, but they're not going to be nervous as long as they do have those wards over there. MDK pushing forward here, Maple on the side with Junja, but we know that Aja's down on the bot side and doesn't have any Mega Gnar bar built up, so I don't think MDK is really that worried about any sort of a TP play, as Elyoya and Frescowy snaking around on the side, maybe trying to find an angle here to come in from behind as Maple going to be pushed down. They're going to flash forward, and there's the crash down, there's the Magnet Sword, and there is Maple dying by the Baron. MDK pull the trigger, and it's who else who does it but Alvaro.
Let's see how much more they can get, because if they can chase down Vi, they might even think about Baron. It's a really nice play there. They had 5 people mid. They knew they wanted to make a play. Aja was shown on the bot wave, and the chase continues. I mean, he's on the wrong side of the map.
Get out of the Heartbreaker, but it's not going to matter. Super comes over the wall. They're going to be able to finish him off. The delayed kill onto him. Maple's going to be up in 20, but I think that's maybe more than enough time for them to start this up. Gnar just actually popped Mega Gnar as well, so even if he TP's in, he's got no threat in this team fight. MDK might just be getting an uncontested Baron in 23 minutes.
Okay, Maple is up in 6 seconds. He has teleport. Even with the Gnar being exhausted, he can teleport in as well. I do not think this is going to be an uncontested Baron.
We'll see. Alvaro on the side. Remember, he has no flash. He has no ulti. The TP's going to be coming in now from Maple. Aja just got back to base, and he's going to be joining up as well. The Baron down to 5k. MDK. Woody looking for an angle on engaging. Flashes forward. There's the bullet time. It gets nothing, though. Woody on the side there, onto the back of Frescowi is down. The resets are coming through. Maple's looking for Alvaro, trying to chase him down. He gets the kill. Supa, they haven't unleashed it. They can just stay over here. Junja's coming back, so they can just hold this for Junja to get back here. Elyoya needs to get back over to the Baron. They do have the wards over the wall, so they have vision on it. And Supa's trying to soften them up, but Junja's back. He has no ulti, remember, but he does have the flash. It could be a flip here. Flash is available for Elyoya, but no Heartbreaker. Mirwin comes in, and the health bars are getting too low. Supa is just destroying them in this Baron pit, so the Baron will finally reset. PSG stave off disaster, but MDK makes sure that they can't get away with anything more.
What a wild sequence that was, because I think MDK might have been able to finish bursting the Baron. There was no jungler there for a smite contest, but they would have risked getting wiped. Then, I feel like PSG, if they were not in an advantageous spot already, would have flipped that Baron. Because I think that was closer to a 60-40 or a 70-30 flip with the 5v3 that they had.
Alvaro just hex flashed over, and he didn't know that they were there waiting for it.
They have more people.
But Junja's going to turn around on the crash down into the scatter. The jungler's dead again, right by the Baron.
Yeah, he hex flashed over because he had his whole team behind him. Meanwhile, Junja and Maple are 2v4, yet opt into the fight.
Oh, Elyoya's wrapping around. Maple doesn't know that they are actually behind him. If he gets spotted, he could be in trouble. Now leaving him ward, does get back to safety. Woody, Aja, and Betty need to try to hold the line here. MDK trying to sweep out the vision and get the push up through top. Mirwin is over there, has the minions coming. Maple's scared to actually walk up. He doesn't know if anyone's behind him. Supa's just pushing in through mid. MDK reinforcing their top laner. 3 members walking up here. Maple has to stay far back. He knows if he gets stunned up, he will get burst down 100-0. Betty now with the team, chunking out Elyoya. Elyoya could be in some trouble as Woody goes in on Mirwin. They're going to jump in. Aja's about to mega out. This could be huge. The bullet time is massive. It tears Mirwin apart. Alvaro falls as well. It's a double for Betty. This fight back and forth, but PSG taking a big advantage now, and we'll see if they can claim the Baron finally.
I mean, it's the same situation they were in last time with it being 5v3. Elyoya technically could think about stealing. He just has absolutely no vision, so it will be the Baron Drake trade going in the favor of PSG.
PSG find an angle there to really punish. Betty really playing with the limits there, stepping forward, realized Elyoya is not in a position to turn on me, so he got such a big chunk on Elyoya and pushes him out, and then Woody finds the perfect engage there alongside Aja. This was picture perfect from PSG.
And this is 5v4 in terms of who's out on the map, so that's why MDK is a little bit overconfident, but you can see with how wide their spread was. 2 players top, 2 players jungle, 1 player mid. It leaves that window for a 4v2 to happen in the jungle, so MDK gets sloppy with their split push there, even though they have the numbers advantage, and don't make a unified retreat after taking that top tier 2.
Yeah, got a little bit too spread out, as you said. You know, first guy was going up top, Supa was coming from mid, and they got caught. You know, they got noticed by PSG. PSG has some really good go buttons there, and great Meganar timing this time for Aja, as he was ready to go alongside Woody, who has been such a key player for them in the PCS. You know, Woody, you know, it's usually not that you talk about the supports as much on some of these teams, you know, compared to the big stars, especially when there's a big name like Maple, big names like Junja, as they are looking. Going to be a bit of a chunk there on a Mirwin, but probably not much more. But Woody has just been so key for the team. He's such a mechanically gifted player. He really has been good at finding those engages, and we're kind of waiting for Woody to show up on form here at Worlds, because you know, we haven't seen those amazing moments that we've gotten used to from the PCS.
Yeah, definitely not. They have been lackluster compared to expectations thus far. 2-1 in their first series, where many expect them to sweep, and then down 1-0 in this series. But their new biggest lead of the day is currently what they have, trying to make the most of this Baron buff. Still feels like it's anyone's game.
Absolutely.
With how many times we've seen them overchase, how well Alvaro has found engages whenever MDK has needed something so far in the play, and he's been the one to provide it.
I mean, both teams have made mistakes, and both teams have been so good at punishing those mistakes and capitalizing on any error from their opponents. As Junja going forward here,
is this too far, though?
The ultimate. The dominance is there to try to survive, and the Derek gets popped on the other side. Alvaro trying to get up to his team. Junja's on the run, but can he survive? Aja Mega's out, and he stuns Elyoya into the wall. Another Derek's trying to keep him alive. Heartbreaker to safety. Breaks the heart of PSG there, as neither of them die. MDK getting pushed back, but it's It's not a kill for PSG.
That was dicey for PSG. It was a temporary 2v4. They call that a fast play. They were trying to get the kill before the rest of MDK could make the move up. They do end up getting the mid turret off of it because when Mad was moving up to defend Mirwin, the mid turret ended up being not defensed, and looks like Maple might have been able to get a pick, but again, he's completely alone, doesn't want to make the...
they're looking for Mirwin, though. They know he has no Sterix and he has no Dominus. Can Maple find the charm to set this up? Aja's coming. He buys the time, forces the flash there, and the TP from Frescowi. So PSG, good pressure. Yo-Yo's looking, but he's not going to find anything just yet. Alvaro could be in some trouble. Woody swinging a miss on the Zenith blade. As Maple's on the side, looking for more. They get the first reset. Flash forward. It's a charm, and it's a kill. Maple takes the game in his hands and says goodbye to Frescowi. Supa's on the run, going to be having to flash out of there, a shift only used by him as Aja came in with the Meganar trying to put the finishing touches onto this game. They get the kills, and the question is how much more can you get after it? The wave is coming here through bot.
Maple makes the clutch play happen on Ari, but the standout there for me was Betty's damage. He is fed, he's not allowing Rel to step forward, and Alvaro died. Huge, I mean, he's finally contributing to the Rel Death Fund for the first time. I apologize to the European fans, but there are positives here. They can still win the series. The Rel Death Fund can still increase.
So all those people with the Rel for most stats in their pick'ems can be a little bit happier about that, as again, this slowdown on the MFE was so problematic.
Really, and just you can see as soon as the aftershock goes down, he literally evaporates. And Maple, at that point, even though it is kind of a 1v4 with how he goes in, has the Storm Shirts, have level 16, point blanks the charm onto Frescowi and makes him disappear.
I mean, the E-Flash is just so nice. There was no way for Frescowi to be able to react, so he doesn't get out that Zonia's. He knows, if I go for a max range charm, it's going to get Zonia's, it's going to get Stasis, maybe I overextend. Instead, he nails it, he hunters to zeros him on that play, working towards that fourth item, and Betty already has his fourth items. He gets a rapid fire now done. Ooh. So the burst from Betty is already really high with the ultimate, but now if you step a little bit too far forward, if he just gets a Q auto on you, that is going to be so problematic for a lot of these squishy MDK members.
Absolutely. I mean, even just one long-range Leona ult into
Woody is
time
going to spend the ulti. No one is there, so asserting his dominance, but not accomplishing too much more.
So they're still not completely comfortable because that's not the type of play you would normally see Woody make. Really trying to end this game knowing that they have an advantage and not wanting to throw it away.
MDK, though, down on that bottom side. It's Elyoya that is closer to the Dragon here. They already have 2. He's going to be working towards 3. If you give them this, then you're giving them a win, on the map, and you're giving them a potential out to take this game if they can get sold. But PSG now coming from base.
Well, the Renekton is caught in the top wave, and Frescowi Syndra needs to defend as well. So it looked like there would have been a small window for them to move in for Drake, but ultimately just not enough vision, not enough knowledge of where PSG is.
And PSG plays it smart, plays it safe. No one just face checked in where if Betty's walking a greedy way, maybe Elyoya can get a pick. They get the information that it is going down, as Maple is going to have to back off. He knows that MDK has information. His team is all on the bot side, so he's got to back out of here and play it safe until Woody can regroup with the team and drops a pink in the Baron pit. That is the next target here. It's going to be spawning in 20 seconds. And MDK are going to have to make the decision, are we willing to fight for something like the Baron? Because one lost fight here, and that is going to be the game. They are pretty far down. Maybe we would prefer to try to scale it out a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's most likely that Mad is going to try and bait and engage, and then hope that PSG fumble it somehow, because this is a pretty big deficit. And the item disparity is going to make the difference. Betty's the one they need to find an angle onto if they want to have a chance.
Yeah, they're going to really need to get him. But he has both the summoners. He has so many items, and the team, is pretty strong around him. Maple, Aja, Junja, definitely not members that you can just fully ignore and get away with.
There's no 100% plays when you're Mad down 8,000. It's definitely a wait and see. Try and find a slight misstep.
Well, they're TPing, so they're going to try to look for some sort of a play. I don't know if they see it in fog. No pings on it just yet. Maple trying to get behind MDK, but they do stay together and they walk out safely towards Mirwin. So PSG commit the teleport from Maple. Don't really get anything for it here. It's a slight win for MDK.
It does push them completely out of the top side here, though. So you can see they're moving in, getting a bunch of control wards inside the red buff. Vi's on red, though. If they're trying to start this fight in mid, it's a little bit undermanned.
Yeah, I mean, PSG, they're going to have to start the Baron, or they're going to have to play more heavily through mid. They want to force out the TP from Mirwin, I think, and MDK, at a certain point, you're going to have to check, and now they get the information that it was a bait. They drop that blue trinket in, and they'll just back out towards bottom side. Again, wasting a lot of PSG's time. They haven't got much done with this bottom and hit being dead.
Really well played there by Mad. Not face-checking when they're in a 4v5 and just wasting time, allowing Mirwin to push out that super minion.
Now they'll start.
And now it's very clear that they've started, so Mad can actually move forward.
But they want to get the TP out from the Renekton, and the Renekton is going to TP, but he's TPing very far away. TP just to the bottom side of the river, so they could even potentially try to finish this. It's getting low. Maple threatening on the side. They do have eyes onto Alyoya. Woody in some trouble. The stuns do land onto Alvaro, and Alvaro is just gone. They committed a lot for it. The slam against the wall from Supa catches him. He's going to be jumping out of there to safety. Alyoya low. He's trying to run. Mirwin's in the middle of the rest of the team. He gets stunned up by the 5. He's trying to go back in, but he can't make it happen. The scatter over the wall from Vescowi was nice, but it doesn't get too much done. Elyoya low, the charm connects from Maple. Supa's low, he's trying to get out there. Benny's flashing forward. Can they turn it around? They don't have the damage just yet. Benny stands, Benny fights, Benny falls, but it's PSG that take the win, and it's PSG that are going for the Nexus. 40 seconds, 50 seconds on these respawn timers. I think PSG are pushing us to a third game.
They managed to clutch up when they needed to. They were down in this game too, looking completely out of sorts, but they make back-to-back plays to pull ahead in the game and then securely and safely build their lead from there. PSG might have just had their best game so far at Worlds.
What a game from PSG. Aja showing up huge, and it's Maple, of course, making the plays on the Ari. Betty with a great MF game. Nerfs be damned, it doesn't matter. PSG make it happen with their backs against the wall. They're going to take MDK to 3 games. All the marbles up for grabs in this last one.
And one thing when we were discussing who was going to win today, it did feel like a toss-up, so it is fitting.